before I make anything into a printable model, I want to make sure I can render the model. In this case, mostly because Sintel has her particle hair, and we somehow have to get the look of her hair into the printable model, and that's a difficult one. I will add the layer with the cameras. That was layer 10, I think. No, that's a rig. Look for the cameras. These are cameras. And you see we have Sintel in a close-up. That's good enough to see if her hair works well. I will go to the render settings. This is all really big. If you find a file that has this, you can zoom in and out by holding Control and holding your mouse wheel. But if it's really big, just hit the home button on your keyboard. I want to look at the settings for the scale, the dimensions. See, I don't want to render 6000 by 6000 pixels. I think 10% of that is more than enough. 600 by 600, easily enough, and 5 points anti-aliasing. I just want to do a really quick render. I will save my file and I will just hit render, see what happens. And I do think I remember there was a little problem. One of the problems can be that Blender can crash, of course. So we go to Sintel. I'm not too worried about this. I did save the file. That's one of the things you may want to do. And I can just reopen it, and I want to check my settings are still there. I'll just hit render again. Something you will notice if you do render, this blocked while rendering is because it is a very special version of Blender. This is kind of between the old render version and the new cycles render. We had Brecht working on this version of Blender for us, and it was highly experimental. Normally you can keep working in your Blender file during the rendering. On this movie they simply said no, we'll not allow that. That will keep Blender a lot more stable. So we're building the ray tree. What we're seeing now is subsurface scattering. That makes our skin look like proper skin, and it should very quickly start rendering actual hair and stuff. Come on, don't tell me it's finished. No, it's still working. You see, I don't really want to spend too much time on the rendering stuff, but we do want to set it up properly. And there we go. See, I'll just wait for a couple of seconds. And what I want to see is the color of her hair. That's the most important thing here. See the texture on the skin, it's all there. That's really nice. We want to make sure that all the textures are working. And her face looks good. Everything seems to work. The eyes look nice too. But I do notice her hair is pitch black. That is a little bit of a problem because I do want her reddish hair as it is in the movie. I want that in the final printable model. And I will need to be able to render it. Okay. We have a result, but we're not quite there. I will escape to stop the render now and go back here because I think I remember what the problem was. If we select the hair, I will go to the layer with the hair. That was this one. And select it. Let's see, this is the hair shad. It's called on the left bottom, you can see what it's called. Shadow, and this is hair emit. And I will look at the material settings. I think I remember that. Was this the group? No, that's UV layers. Ah, there is a light group assigned. What this means is only objects in this group can cast light on the hair. In this case, sintel underscore hair underscore light. And if we look on the layer with the hair and the lights casting on the hair, these are not in a group. If they were in a group, like, let's see, this thing is in a group, I can tell because it's green. And if we look at the object, yep, it is in the sintel hair light group. It's not a light though, it is the final object. This little empty called final was there to show which layers to use when rendering. So we need to add this to the group. All of these lights need to be in sintel. It's in the list already. Sintel hair light. So if we add these to sintel hair light, here we go, sintel hair light. I'll get sintel in there. I'll forget about all the other stuff. Just get the cameras in and I will render again. So we're taking a little extra time just to make sure the lighting works. It's going to save us trouble later. Of course, to create the hair, we need to create a mesh. Everything we do should be made of meshes, not of particles. And I think what I did here was I downloaded a version. There is a light version of sintel that you can download from the internet. That's a little bit easier to work with than this one as well, but it doesn't have everything that this one has. But I think I found one that had mesh hair, and I used that and modified it. It was all Creative Commons anyway, modified that and later baking this hair on top of it. And this is starting to look pretty darn good. It's rendering. We don't have the nice red pixels anymore to show us the progress of the render, and sintel has nice red hair. So we fixed it and we're ready to move on to the next bit. Nice. I'm happy.